Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. I have a special guest on my channel today.
Hi guys, I'm Abigail. Esther's named me Abigail's Life.
We've been speaking about this for a while actually. I think we spoke about this for like
hasn't been years. But it's been like really, it's been about a year.
Yeah, so we put it out on social media and we've got quite a few questions back. We got some really good questions back actually. I've done several Q&As before, but I don't think I've actually done one specifically on motherhood. And of course, having Abigail join me just is perfect. It makes sense. You guys have seen her go from being girlfriend to wife to mum in the space of like, what, 2 years? So you've been watching her channel just with my name. We could like give a little backstory on why we're here. Okay. So you go first.
Okay, so yeah, as you would have seen from Esther's previous videos, I have a now 1-year-old, Eden. It's been like a really good experience. It's not been, I wouldn't say it's been difficult. It's not what everybody said to me it would be. I think we've been really, really spoiled. We've been so lucky. Eden is such a good baby. Don't feel like I've had to deal with a lot of the issues that other people have had to. So sleepless nights, we kind of finished with those really early on. Yeah. To be honest, just a little disclaimer, I might say stuff and you're like, what, that is so unrealistic, but as I said, we were just blessed.
It's your reality.
So yeah.
She has a 1-year-old. He's 13, 14 months?
He's 1.
But my son is 10 years old. He's gonna be 11 in April. So we have like completely different ends of like the motherhood spectrum.
When we had our kids as well.
And then like the ages that we both became mums. I became a mum at 17. Abigail became a mum
29.
Yeah, like 29.
Yeah, 29.
Completely different kind of situations and environments. I wasn't with my son's dad. Abigail's married and she's had a baby. So it would be a good way to kind of see the differences. Obviously everyone's experiences are really different as well. So no matter what you're going through, you might find some similarities in what we say.
And I think there are some things that are just the same.
Yeah.
It's just like parenting. It doesn't really matter when, who, something.
When, who or how.
Applies to everyone.
We're not.
This is
just our experience. And of course, you guys have asked us questions, so you're intrigued to know what we think or to hear from us. So Olu actually asked us.
Man like. So I didn't really have one as such. For us, it was something really exciting. I knew that there would be so much to learn and we'd learn along the way. I didn't really have one of those moments kind of like, oh, you know, I don't know what to do. Because again, I feel that you just know. You learn stuff along the way. I had some amazing people around me. Like even though Esther had Coco when she was younger, she's still a mum. She still knows stuff, she's still done it. So it's not really related to being a mum, but I think my only fear was doing all of this without my own mum. Only because, yeah, obviously you all saw how it all played out. Everything was really sudden. It's not how we, you know, no one thought none of that was going to happen. So it was, I'd never kind of planned my life. I'd always envisioned being a mum with my own mum there and, you know, her helping me out with the grandkids and all that stuff. So I guess I had to do all of this stuff and like my mum's not here. Because we all know how valuable our mums are like in times like these. And it still kind of is, to be honest. I have so many days like, oh my gosh, man, doing this mum stuff without my own mum. But doing all right.
Because of how things kind of worked out in my life and obviously being a single parent, so to speak, and co-parenting. I don't know if you'd say I'm single parent.
Yeah, I always find that one that, I never quite know, because obviously his dad does play a role.
Yeah.
So
maybe I wouldn't say I'm a single parent.
Mom, you co-parent.
Well, I mean, they kind of change every now and then, just with things like so most recently I've had to pick his secondary schools for him. So I think with things like that, it's just I fear I may make the wrong decisions because it's kind of a lot of pressure on you. Obviously your parents have kind of made decisions for you up until a certain age, but when I now have to make those decisions for him, it's a bit like, oh, I don't want to do the wrong thing, I don't want to put him in the wrong place that may, it's kind of been that sort
it's
of.
Funny you mentioned school, because again, like even Eden, as young as he is, I'm already like, okay, you know, in the area this school's really good, like it's a bit wild because he's only just 1 and I probably don't need to be thinking, but I guess it's just kind of, you want the best for your kids, so you want
to make the right decisions.
So. I think everyone has, oh, I'm not gonna do this, but then you end up doing it, or oh, I'm definitely gonna do that.
I had said, I don't know if I ever said I wouldn't shout at him or like I'd like to talk to him, but sometimes sometimes it just comes out. I think as he's gotten older, I've learned to not learned to not let that be the first thing I do.
Kind of maybe shout when you've tried a few times.
Shout when I've exhausted all my other options of talking and communicating, and you know.
I always said like, I'm gonna try and do that. For example, my dad never had to shout, he never had to do
so good.
Just a look Or for someone to say, I'm going to call your dad, like I would just die. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I would like to
not have to shout.
Yeah, I would like. So even now, like, obviously he's still young, so we try not to shout. Obviously, different tones and Eden. But yeah, I think some simple things that I said, like, I'm not gonna let so many people carry him. I think I've done quite well with that. It's really awkward.
It's awkward.
But I don't just go to pick up anyone's child. You know, it depends who it is, the relationship. Especially like when they're a new baby, you know, Even till now. I'm over joking, like he's one, but even till now, you know, you just don't want hands all over your child. He's there in the background, I don't know if you can hear it. I actually had people ask me like, oh, can I hold him? And I'm like, oh, sorry, no.
Hold up.
No, do you know what it is? It's one thing that I've really tried to stick to. I always said, I'd rather I'm not upset and let someone else be upset with the decision I've made. But if I really don't want to give my child to someone, I'm not gonna say, oh, but they're gonna be upset, they're gonna be offended. I'm sitting there shaking. You know, I'd rather say, oh, sorry, no. Yeah, I've stuck to it. It's generally what I try to do with anything that concerns my child.
Yeah.
And we said that Eden is going to his room when he's 6 months old. The day he turned 6 months off. We actually did. We were like, you know what? 6 months, he's gonna go in his own room.
Oh, that's good.
And we actually done it. I did say I was gonna read to him a lot. I don't read to him enough. So I ended up having a C-section. It's not what I planned. Most people don't plan a C-section unless there's like complications or whatever. Ended up having an unplanned C-section. I had planned water birth, all of that stuff, candles,
music,
very nice.
Lovely,
literally, I had my portable speaker, but it didn't happen that way. I'll just give you like a quick overview of my whole labour. So I had my first contraction at about 7:30 in the evening. We weren't really sure whether it was like a contraction or not, but by 8 it was quite obvious. So I was having an ache, I'd call it, an ache in my back. So we called the hospital, told them we think it's happening, so expect us at some point tonight. And then obviously it started increasing, managed to stay at home till about 1. I'd say about 1 a.m. is when it kind of really got intense. So before I'd gone to hospital, I'd had a bath, I'd laid down, done all the stuff they said. So we went into hospital about 1 o'clock. By that time, the contractions were quite bad. So I took some pain relief. I had pethidine.
Oh, is it the injection?
The injection, yeah.
That makes you sleep.
It makes you sleep. It worked. Some people apparently can make you sleep through everything.
Yeah.
Right? But mine, I slept in between the contractions, like out like a light, and but then I'd wake up for the contraction, then out again. So maybe about 4 or 5 a.m. Contractions really got intense. So they checked me, and I was like 5 centimeters dilated. At this point, to be fair, they had already said I couldn't have a water birth just because my platelet, which is basically when you have a cut, it's the thing that makes your blood clot so you don't bleed out. The last couple of weeks of my pregnancy, that started getting lower. So the lower that is, it means your blood isn't gonna clot. So it's quite dangerous, you know. Obviously anything can happen. Yeah, during childbirth you could bleed out. So they had already said, okay, I can't have the water birth. I'm gonna need to be in the labour ward just to be monitored in case anything. So we went into the labour ward again. They strapped all those things, you know, to check the baby and all of that. And then obviously at this point I'd got the gas in there, so I'm just like with the fairies. But David was there seeing everything, so he could see my heart rate, he could see Eden's heart rate, and I could just see there was just a lot. It was like a lot going on, but you know, I was just there on my gas in there, feeling good, feeling fine. And David looked a bit concerned, but I was just like, oh no, what's going on? And I was like, oh no, it's fine. So long story short, it turned out that every time I was having a contraction, Eden's heart rate was really dropping low, like dangerously low. So they could obviously see he was distressed somehow. Because I had so much water and the water hadn't broken, every time I was contracting and he was trying to come out, the water was just pushing him back up.
Like a
bit like a sponge. He was getting really stressed out. So they broke my waters, and then they realised he had pooed, which is obviously a big
on top of everything.
Big no. So his heart rate's dropping. They've now realised he's pooed. So it's like, okay, we need to get him out ASAP. So that's how I ended up having the C-section. The surgery itself, I mean, you don't feel anything.
Yeah, because they numb you.
Yeah, so I had something called a spinal. It's a bit like an epidural, which most of you may have heard of, but it's an injection in your back. It numbs everything. The spinal and the epidural are slightly different.
Because the epidural gets topped up.
Yeah, and it's a much bigger needle. So again, I couldn't have the epidural because it's a bigger needle, big incision in my back. It probably would have just kept bleeding. Yeah. So they gave me the spinal, which is thinner and it doesn't last as long. So they had to be quite quick. That went well. But guys, a C-section? Wow. You know when people talk about this, real birth, no birth? It's all birth. Whether they cut the baby out, because it takes a long time.
See, the C-section scare me. I don't even want to talk about it too much.
It's wild. It's really wild.
It really scares me.
So obviously, you know, they make the incision, they take the baby out. I don't think I really realised until I needed to go to the toilet.
Or you needed to just laugh.
Yeah, or you cannot laugh. Because obviously it's your stomach muscles, everything here. So just even think about when you cough, where you feel it. You can't do any of those things comfortably. It hurts. You can't cough, you can't sneeze, you can't laugh. Like when people try to make me laugh, I was just like, ha, ha, ha. Literally. And you know, it does take quite a while to heal
back up again.
They advise you not to try and have another child for at least like another year, but again, I've known people
all your muscles like
done it,
heal back up.
But out of 10, I mean, obviously, because I didn't have to push the baby out, so I can't.
No, but your labour pains itself,
they were wild. I would give it a 10.
Is it?
It was bad. Like I would, and because mine was in my back. Because I always thought, oh, when you have, I've always been told, oh, it's like really bad period pain. No, mine were all in my back, and that was due to the position Eden was in. Apparently, he had turned into one funny position. Like his back, so his back was facing my back that way, and apparently that caused you to have contractions in your back. It was horrible. Like I'd wake up, literally at one point, I grabbed David's whole face like that. I just didn't know what to do. After the healing process, you know, it's
because you have the baby, but then you still need to heal. So imagine like with a C-section as well. So you need to heal, and then you need to still nurse your baby. So it's a lot on the body. For me, it was very different. I had a vaginal birth, so the pain out of 10, I'd give it like a. I give it like a high 8.
I thought he was gonna come and be like a 5.
Yeah, like a 5. No, I'd give it like a really like 8.9, 8.10. Just because I don't know. I think generally I have a high pain threshold anyway, so. Like it hurt. Okay, when I was pregnant, I would always research things. So I'd always be like watching videos and reading books and reading blog posts, and I read up on so much. I'd always be researching. So then when it came and then it was hurting, I was like, okay, this is it.
Is it gonna get worse?
Yeah, but I was waiting for something major. I was waiting to be like on the floor, crippled, but I never got to that stage. So I didn't think I was as far ahead as I was when I got to the hospital. It was until I just couldn't sit comfortably and I couldn't close my legs that I knew that something was going on. There was just a lot of pressure down in that area, and that was because he kept sliding down, because obviously I was already fully dilated, but I didn't know. So by the time I left,
amazing.
It was good, isn't it?
Good.
I know. And
I receive it.
Guys, all the while I had ordered chest of drawers, a new wardrobe, IKEA had delivered it, I had opened up all the packaging, I was doing up all the DIY, and I was in labour, and I didn't know. My mum was saying that she knew I was in labour because anytime a nail would kind of get stuck, I'd use my teeth to remove it. So I remember doing it like once or twice, but when she kept saying it, I was like, Mum, you're exaggerating. But I would like I guess because I was in pain. I guess I was in pain and I just wanted to and then the hammer wasn't working and it was just long. So I put up my chest of drawers, I put up my cupboard, I put all my clothes back in, put all the baby clothes back in, I had a shower, and that's when I felt like, okay, something is really, really happening.
Maybe you had that adrenaline just like pumping through you when you was doing all of this DIY.
Yeah, maybe.
And when you chilled, it was like whoosh.
Yeah, so then when I had the shower and then I was relaxed, I was like, okay, no, I can't sleep. I thought, oh, let me just bath, go to bed, wake up and I'll be fine. But I couldn't go to bed because of course I was ready to push. So by the time we got into, I think it was the moment when I was in the car going to the hospital that it was at its worst for me. So after the bath and then the trip to the hospital, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, no, something is really, really happening. And I think that was the point where I was feeling a little bit more crippled, but I could still bear it. And my contractions at this point were closer together because he was ready to come out. So by the time I got to the hospital, onto the bed, I felt myself down there because it felt like something was already coming out of me. And it was the sac. It was the sac that the baby's in, amniotic. What do you call it?
Yeah, amniotic.
The amniotic fluid, but the sac.
The sac.
Yeah.
What is the sac called? I don't know.
There must be a name of the sac.
It's terrible.
So the lady was like, the moment I opened my legs and she came, she was like, oh my goodness. She was like, I have to break your waters, and when you have your next contraction, you need to push. I was like, okay. So she broke the waters. I pushed once, nothing happened. I pushed twice, the head popped out. Third push I had, I ripped. So my perineum, the space between your vagina and your anus, that tore a little bit, and I felt that it tore. It tore because it went, I felt like a release. Yeah, there was like a pop, so there was more space. So as these shoulders came out, I felt space, something gave way.
Ugh.
And then he just kind of slid out. So I maybe pushed like 3-4 times.
I can't lie, yeah, the thought of
pushing,
it still freaks me out.
I would rather push than anything else, to be honest. Yeah,
push next time.
I didn't even
if
have
I
time
can.
for gas and air. I didn't have time for any kind of, and I wanted everything. I got there and I was like, no, wait, I wanted the gas and I wanted the music, and the lady was like, there is no time. I was like, no, it wasn't how I imagined it. It was so like,
so silly.
it was honestly so rushed.
So quick.
It was so quick, and then he was out. But yeah, I'd give it like an 8. It hurt me. Obviously,
Did you have the ring of fire?
yeah, that was when he's
I've
coming
heard
out.
someone say there was no. I was like, are you sure?
No, it burnt. It's like,
no, there's no.
and then you have to push through the ring of fire. It's another level of. That's another level.
Oof.
So it was great. But then remember, of course, that when that time comes, that you could see your midwife a couple of days before, but when it's time to, when you're in labour,
whatever's gonna happen
is gonna happen. Yeah. So
But have an open mind, because I even, like, from when I was pregnant and everything, like all of these things, obviously, of course, I want to push the baby out. I'd already said to myself, if for whatever reason I need to have a C-section, like
whatever's best for the baby, I think.
Whatever, just let's do it. And that's literally on the day. Actually, David was like, okay, she can't push out, so can we just get the baby out now? Just you know, just.
I quite like both those questions. I think I had asked Abigail earlier and she was like, I'm not your friend.
Obviously, I'm not there yet. I don't know, actually. I won't speak for most parents, but I personally would like to have a relationship with my kids that they are able to be open. I chose not to, but I know that if I were to speak to my mum about certain things I could have,
that always feels really good when you can.
Yeah, you know, knowing that you can. So I would definitely love, and I pray that I'm able to be that kind of parent. I don't know what that kind of parent does, or what you need to do to get there, but I really do hope that I can have that relationship with my children. That obviously I do think may need to have some boundaries. There might be, I don't know, there might be some things that you don't
at certain ages, of course. There should be boundaries,
ages. And I mean, if we're gonna call, if that's what being a friend to your child is, then yes, I would most definitely love to be. Obviously still have that respect as their parent, but also knowing that they can come to you and speak to you about various different things at certain points in their life.
Because growing up, kids need to talk to you, and I've found that is really important with Coco now, because he's 10. But I've noticed it from probably the age of like 7 now more than ever. Like he needs to be able to confide in someone, and because obviously I co-parent with his dad, I've noticed that when he needs to kind of talk about, even if it's someone at school, or like the way a teacher said something to him that he doesn't really understand why, or if any kind of terminology, even, Mum, what does this mean? Like he wants to, it's important that they're able to come to you and ask you about certain things. Obviously with certain things, I'm like, no, because that's way above your age. Like there's no way I'm even gonna discuss that with you. There's no way I'm gonna sit down as a friend and discuss it with you yet, because you're not, we don't need to have that. Yeah, exactly. We're not there yet. You're not there yet. In the future, if more important things about being an adult comes up, you have to kind of suck it up.
And you know,
because they're not babies
and I think
anymore.
it would just kind of break your heart if they're having these conversations
with other people else.
Maybe like obviously they're gonna have certain conversations with their peers and stuff, but I think I'd be quite hurt if like there's another adult.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. How do you teach your child the Yoruba culture? So we're both Nigerians and we're both Yoruba. Abigail's married to a Ghanaian. Why are you laughing?
It's hard.
Is it? I think it's harder without adults.
Yeah,
adults.
Again, and I think these are the kind of little things where I'm like, oh, like my mum needed to just be here. I think there are certain things that I can speak Yoruba, David can speak Tree. We speak English.
Yeah.
You know, we speak English to each other. David mostly speaks English anyway, but we were all like, yeah.
Gonna teach
okay, so
them,
like, you make sure at home, Eden. Wow. It's hard. It's so hard. But you know what, we do try. If anyone's got any tips,
please share it.
Yeah, so we Culture Treat on YouTube is great. Like, it's all in Yoruba. I don't know if anyone knows if there's a Ghanaian version. Like, let me know.
So
Like, it's amazing. Like, they do like languages,
rhymes.
and there's some cool nursery rhymes, and they're in Yoruba. They're really, really cool. They are really, really good. They put so much effort into it. And then they also have classes. So I've taken Eden to a few of those, and I think I'm gonna keep going.
I think they were really. I saw it and I was like,
you saw it on
cool.
it is so cool, and I think it is important. And I definitely, I've not given up. I am really, really gonna try. It's such an asset.
Yeah.
Knowing other languages, whether they're widely spoken, whether they're not, it's just an asset. The kids that are learning through play, which is what I think they need at that age. So all the songs, all the nursery rhymes, they're all in Yoruba, and they sing and they dance, and it's so good. So I think things like that,
that's really cool,
help. We need to find a way. Like, for example, like, I told David's like mom, like, yeah, you know, like, don't speak to him in English, you know, just little things.
Yeah, no, that's good. I found that having
to help
more adults take care of that helped. Because I couldn't have done it. Coco, he would like speak in a Nigerian accent. He will do things that we do, like certain tonations he'll use. He's very familiar with like parts of Lagos that he stayed in, so he knows about his culture. He knows where he's from. He'll tell you he's Nigerian, tell you where he lives in Nigeria. He knows about all those things, and I think that's, in terms of the Yoruba culture, I think that's more my mom and his grandparents, and then in terms of like knowing about Nigeria and going and stuff, obviously it's been like me and his dad and stuff. So I think that's really important, because I used to meet people when I was like in secondary school or primary school, and I'd be like, where are you from? They're like, England, and they'd have like Oluwabumi as their name or something.
Always
and I'm
say
like,
Nigeria.
Like, what? How's that? So I'm like, how you got that name? And they're like, my parents are from Nigeria. And I'm like, no, you are Nigerian, honey, because... And they're like, no, I was born here, but my parents... And I'm like, okay, sure, great, fab. But no, I wouldn't really want Coco to be that kind of child. Although you're born here, your roots are Nigerian, and you're...
Definitely, because my parents, like, I was in Nigeria all the time. Yeah. Literally, like, every single year we'd go to Nigeria. I went to school in Nigeria for a little while. Like, you could probably drop me in Nigeria and I'd know my way around. You'd be fine,
yeah. And I would want that for my kids as well.
So I would absolutely love for Eden to have that on both sides. Obviously, we're dealing with two different countries, so
that is so
more
cool.
expensive, but it's fine. We'll do it. So even like, you know, when people like make those funny little jokes, like, oh, he's Ghanaian, he's Nigerian. I'm like, no, he's both.
Yeah.
He's Nigerian and he's Ghanaian. He's 50-50.
Definitely.
He's not more one than the other, and he's gonna embrace both equally.
He's lucky.
What have your struggles been with motherhood?
Struggles. I can breastfeed.
Yeah, nor could I.
Is that a struggle?
I mean, I suppose.
Okay.
So I suppose it's a good thing that we're thinking for that long.
I guess, yeah.
I mean,
he just wouldn't latch on for me, and then I went back to school like the week after, so I wasn't at home to exclusively breastfeed him.
And I just didn't have enough milk. There just wasn't enough of it, so
I don't know if that's a struggle, but for me now, in hindsight, it worked out how it worked out. He was fine being formula fed right from birth. I don't feel like he's lacked anyway because he wasn't breastfed. I
really did want to breastfeed. Like, I was on it. I was like, yeah, you know, gonna breastfeed exclusively and go. Yeah, and I think this is back to the thing we were saying before. You need to just have an open mind. I know there are so many people who advocate for breastfeeding. I think it's great.
Yeah.
If you can. And I'm talking, for example, like in my case where there was literally not enough milk. He actually lost a whole pound in a week, which, if any of you know, that's a lot of weight for a newborn baby to lose. Like, they had to make us go back into hospital, we had to stay in hospital, they had to monitor him, all because I was saying I want to breastfeed by force. And when they were like, sorry, but there's not enough breast milk to sustain him, I was like, okay, where's the formula?
Yeah. Like, you have plans, but then, because I thought, yeah, I'd breastfeed, but it just didn't work out, so I'd express and then it'd be left at home with him. But then after a while, like, I just kind of dried up.
If you could choose the right age to have a child, what would it, the right age?
So remember at the beginning of this video, we told you guys that we both became mothers at very completely different
decade apart
times in our lives. Different ages. I was 17, Abigail was 29.
Yeah.
So big difference. So you can imagine, even mentally as a woman, where you would be at 17. And then no place having sex. I'm kidding. Where you'd be at 17 and where you'd be at 29.
In regards to obviously a specific age, I don't think there's ever a specific age. I know there's a lot of talks, you know, people say, oh, you know, there's never a right time for XYZ. You know, I do feel like we need to just kind of be a bit honest about certain things. And I think ideally, you know, any person would want to be not even necessarily married or anything, like let's even take that out, but any person would want to be in a good place financially, emotionally. You know, you'd want to have a roof over your head. It doesn't mean you've bought a house, but you may just, most people would want to have certain things in place, you know, have a steady income and all those kind of things before they have a child, so that, you know, they know that they're going to be okay.
That doesn't necessarily come with age.
It doesn't necessarily come with age, because there are some people who are in their 30s, even 40s, that
don't have their shit together.
It's kind of like the way life goes. As you get older, you more than likely
things
have,
fall into
you know,
place.
things start to come together for you. So you probably want to be not 17, but if it happens that way, then it happens. If you could pick,
what
would you have picked 17? Obviously Coco's here, we love him, this is not what we're saying, but like, if you're like, oh, okay,
if I was talking to someone else and they told me they were 17 and they were pregnant, I would probably really advise them to think it through. I wouldn't advise it. I wouldn't.
So I think, you know,
it's too hard.
Because I think sometimes we like to be kind of a bit, is it politically correct about things? But let's just be honest, you know, if you are going to have a child at 17 or something, you know, a young age, you may, you know, there's a lot of things that you may find a lot harder. You may not be able to do certain things. Not saying that you can't, not saying having a child when you're young stops and ruins your life or anything. But I just believe, obviously, as you get a bit older and, you know, you're wiser and you make better decisions, I hope.
As you're older.
But it's just, I'm just kind of saying overall, I hope you get what I mean. That overall, as you get older, you're likely to be in a better place, make better decisions.
To then care for or be responsible for a child and raise a child.
So I wouldn't say a specific age, just as you progress in life and you're a bit older. If I had a friend, for example, like she got married at 23, she's still married, she's about to have her second child. So again, it's not so much age,
it's where you are, mentally, emotionally, all of that kind of stuff.
Like I exactly, like for example, if I had a child when I was 17,
you really don't know where you'd be today.
I would have had no place having a child at 17. Again, like, you figure it out, your family will be there to you get on with it. But it definitely wouldn't have been ideal for me when I was 17. I don't even think I could have had a child when I was like 21, 22. No, probably not.
See, now,
so it really just depends.
If I hadn't had Coco, I would probably be saying now that I don't want kids anytime soon, because now I'm at a point in my life, in my career, that I'm like, I don't see it slowing down. I think if I hadn't had Coco, then I wouldn't have a child for a long time to come. So
don't overdo it.
What do you mean? No, but I think that's why he had to come when he did, because I would now be like, oh, I've got so many godchildren, niece and nephews. I'm just so blessed with all these kids that aren't mine. And but it depends. And of course, I had a child at 17. I got on with it. I had help from my family, had help from like my friends who were strangers at the time. So Abigail was a complete stranger, and she helped me go and pick my son up from school because...
And I think maybe these are just some of the things.
Yeah, these are just some things that you don't have to put yourself through, like...
Because I'm sure they know, like, the whole story of, like, work and...
I don't know if they know.
So, let me tell you. So, Esther and I met... It's been a really long time now. We were both working at Liberty at the time.
In central London.
Christmas temp.
Temporary job.
We got on fine, but not like, oh my gosh, like, you know,
we weren't like BFFs.
We weren't like, not like this. We were like work colleagues. We had a laugh. We got on well. It was just a reoccurring thing though. Like, Esther kept having days where she'd maybe need to just rush off early, or she'd be like, you just see her like on her phone trying to get someone to pick Coco up
every day,
you know. And one day I was off work and I just get this message just saying, you know, like, I'm really sorry, but like, would you help me pick up my son? And I was just like, okay. It was like, okay.
I gave her the password for the nursery.
I could have been a weirdo, but you know, and I think these are maybe just some of the things. Not saying people who aren't, you know, in better positions don't have days like that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that having Eden now was a good age for me, but I even have like issues with like childcare and stuff like that, so it can happen to anyone. But you know, like this one with Esther, for example, was so extreme that in the end they fired her.
I lost my job.
It's not that they didn't know what was going on. I think the woman herself, she was like a single mom.
She was like, I understand.
She really didn't, because she fired her
She didn't care, because she called me in and she was like, we have to let you go.
You know, and it was sad. We can laugh about it now.
I cried. I was like, oh my god.
Okay, look guys, so let me tell you how it was, right?
What? How do you even remember?
I remember you walked from, you know, the top end, so you walked down like towards the stockroom.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was like by that door.
So Esther came and she had a tissue in her hand and she's like, oh, like, oh, look, what's wrong? She was like, no, basically I just got fired. And we were all just like, what? And she was like, I just, you know, like, I don't know why. She was really dramatic, by the way.
Oh, what? I was fired.
Like, now, obviously, now we can say that. Back then, it was sad. And she was just like, you know, like, what am I gonna do? That means Coco can't go to nursery. Like, really dramatic. But you know, again, it
was my reality.
Like
I would wake up and drop him at nursery and go to work, and I wouldn't know who was going to pick him up or how he was going to get home. I just knew that I had to be at work, and it's just too much stress for a young lady.
But thank God
we got through it.
So we both work from home, essentially. I find, obviously now because Eden is still at home with me and everything, I find that sometimes I can get too into work. So I've made a point that literally between the hours of like 9 and 6 p.m, that's when I will work. But even in those times, I will make sure every so often I'm just turning everything off and just playing with him or doing whatever it is we need to do. And anything after those hours, like I just won't see to it.
So that's like normal working hours anyway.
And I've just made a point that, like, just because I work from home, I get it, we can be more flexible and we do have that advantage, but then at the same time I need to really just say, no, this is work time and this is time for my family. So anything after like 6 now until the next morning, I'm not answering. If I get a work call, I will not pick it up. I will not reply no emails. If obviously, like, again, because you're self-employed, people want to WhatsApp you and stuff, I won't answer, and they can see I'm online, but I just won't answer. So that's something I'm trying to do, like, going forward.
What about time for yourself?
We have some pretty cool people around us, you know, Esther, other people that I know that if David and I like want to go out, cinema or whatever, like they will take him. Like, I mean, David and I used to go out a lot more. Again, you have a child, so you know you can't go out the same frequency, and I quite like being at home with him, to be honest. But I know there's people around who can babysit. There's been a few times where like we've wanted to do certain things and we can't because no one was available, and you know what, it is what it is. But one thing I definitely will be doing again is a baby free holiday.
Woo woo,
because Bali,
they enjoyed that.
You're so dumb. So I do think it is very important to remember that obviously you're parents now and life has changed. It's a whole different thing, and it's amazing. And I think at first I kind of used to feel guilty, thinking, oh, but like going somewhere and leaving him.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
you did.
You know, I used to feel so bad. But you know what? It's really okay. He didn't even care. If you're lucky enough to have people around you that are happy to look after your child, they love your child, you're comfortable. I hadn't left Eden anywhere until the week before we went to Bali, because I left him with my sister the weekend before. That was the first time he stayed away from us.
Overnight,
one night. And then the next weekend we left him for a whole like 10 nights. We're comfortable with where he was.
Of course you prioritize them and everything, but you still, like, for your own sanity, like, you still need to have time away from being a mum. Like Abigail mentioned, I also work from home, so I work from wherever I am, to be honest. You'd be surprised, I'm at home a lot more than people think I am. I might still be posting pictures from like my trip, but I could have been home a week before and I'm still posting photos. I'll be in the club, I'll be here, I'll be there, but now I just don't have the energy, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm happy. I'm really happy with that, guys. I'm getting on a little bit in age, so sometimes you save your energy for some things that are a little bit more important. Or
you are like, actually at home a lot. I'm maybe just saying that, guys. She actually, like, if I FaceTime her and she's out and I'm like, oh, where are you? Like, almost like, what?
Usually if I'm out, Abigail's like, oh, where are you going?
I think being a mum for me has opened some random new doors that I really wasn't even trying to open in the first place.
Oh, see?
While I was pregnant, I had this like secret Instagram page, and I didn't tell anyone about it apart from David. And it was just mainly a you know, like sometimes you want to say something, but you don't want to respond. You just want to talk.
Oh yeah.
And I used to just like post questions. But, you know, like other mums would comment and stuff, and it was nice just to like, you know, weekly like share my pregnancy updates and stuff like that.
It grew and it's grown.
It grew and
it's
growing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not anything like.
Oh god,
you know.
but it's growing.
But it's, you know, it's nice. It's nice, and it's doing okay, and been doing a few things here and
Events
there.
and yeah. So it
and I
hasn't
would
slowed you
say
down,
no, it
sped you
hasn't.
up.
It's just it's given me like a new perspective. Actually, I've learnt other things, and I think I've developed a bit of a passion for kind of just motherhood. Like,
Yeah.
I think I just really enjoy it, and I just want to like enjoy it with other people. Yeah, so I think it's actually like opened new avenues, which is quite cool.
That's
actually.
really cool.
Yeah.
Slow me down. I don't know if it slowed me. I think at one point I did feel like it was a little bit of it was difficult for me to
Juggle everything.
juggle. Yeah, that's the right word.
Before you're going to use the wrong word.
I think at one point I did feel like it was a bit difficult to juggle everything, but now because I'm so blessed to like work from wherever I am, it's not an issue, you know.
Yeah.
And plus he's older.
And I guess because he is older, like in terms of the things like traveling,
Yeah.
like, he's got family.
Yeah, exactly. I get it a lot on social media.
Yeah.
Like when I go away.
How dare you?
I feel so sorry for him.
And my answer to that is always, do you see Blue Ivy on the stage every time Beyonce jumps on there and he's doing no. No, you don't, because that's her working. And when she's with her children, you don't see it. It's the same thing. When I put content out there, I never made my channel to be parent or a family channel. I did it because it was about myself. And yes, I have a child. That doesn't mean he has to be included in it. Yes, over time I have put him in some things and I've involved him in some kind of like fun content. That doesn't mean that every time you see me, you have to see him. Not at all. But in terms of traveling and stuff, when I travel mainly for work. I'm traveling for press trips. I'm traveling to create content wherever I go. It would be really irresponsible of me to take my child out of school to follow me on these trips. Yeah, I have a family, and yeah, I didn't climb on top of myself and have a child. He has a father. You guys should know, or you should at least hope that he plays his role, which he does, so he spends time with his dad when I'm away. Is that straightforward? It shouldn't have to be rocket science, honestly.
It's actually funny because I've been quite close to some of it. Like a few years ago, a boy in my church passed away. He got stabbed like somewhere in Highbury on his 16th or 15th birthday? On his birthday. And there was like quite recent actually, like a young boy, he got like shot in a park. It's really scary. You know, I've had so many conversations about stuff like this, and I remember like someone was like, oh no, it's the parents. Not always, and I'm not saying I won't excuse, you know, sometimes there may be things that parents could have done, but then at the same time you're not with your kids 24/7.
Can't wrap them up.
Yeah, and you teach your kids certain things, and I only say this so common because I've seen certain things. I'm not necessarily to do with like gun violence and stuff like that, but I've seen certain things where, you know, you see a group of people, they've had the same upbringing, they got taught the same thing, but then some ended up better than others. From those things I can see, and I know for a fact they are personal choices as well. I'm not saying anybody wants to get stabbed or wants to get killed, no, definitely not. Just that people do blame parents a lot, and again, I'm not saying that some parents aren't, you know, just overlooking certain things and not paying close attention to what their kids are doing, but you know, I know as a teenager I could lie.
Yeah, you could get up to things when your parents wouldn't know.
You definitely could, and I think that's one of the scary things as a parent. It's not any different to the kids now. I think, you know, we just need to try and just keep talking to the kids.
This is where you want
showing
to be more
them,
of a friend,
yeah,
isn't it?
you know,
Yeah.
giving them good examples. It's hard. It's really hard. And again, like, our boys are still very young. You know, I pray that they will be fine. By God's grace, will not ever get caught up in anything like this. I have had situations, you know, like people do always say, oh, you know, you read the newspaper headlines, they're like, oh, he was such a good boy. But there have been so many kids, you don't even know, you can't link how something like that happened to them. Whereas some kids is like, oh, you know, they were involved in XYZ. Never never an excuse. It really scares me. I don't even
scares
know
me.
how, you know, these young people they're able to just like pick up a knife and pick up a gun and just
things like that.
I don't know what it is. Is it broken homes? Is it kids that just don't want to listen? I have no clue.
Yes,
I guess try and be as close to your kids as possible and hope, you know, that
pray
they
that they're
share
never
with
in the
you.
wrong place at the wrong times. They never meet anyone who's a
tough.
bad influence.
Yeah.
It's so many things. Like even before I let Coco like go to school by himself and come home by himself, it took a long time. Even now when he leaves, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, like I'm scared. I get scared all the time. Just him being out there by himself. Of course he's gonna grow up and he's gonna make so many different types of journeys on his own in life in general. So he has to start somewhere. I still get really, really scared. Like I'm like I know the times he has to call me by the time he gets to school and when he's leaving school and things like that. So
it is scary. And so I'll never forget some years ago my mum and I were at one of her like friends, like her sister, as you like, you know, you would say. I remember like, you know, the boy came in, had some really nice trainers and I was like, I like your trainers, and the mum was just like, auntie, the way things are now, I want to make sure he not spoil him,
but he has everything he wants.
he has the nice trainer, he has the nice this, he has the nice that, because I don't want someone on the street to come and entice him with those things, which it does happen as well. It's just hard. Obviously as a parent you probably want to get your kids nice things anyway. The fact that someone is having to think that far, that no, I need to make sure my child has X, Y, and Z, not necessarily just because he's got something nice, but because I don't want someone else on the street to come and be like, oh, you know, I can give you this if you do X, Y, and Z. Yes. Yes, she does.
Sure.
I would like another 2.
Great.
So I would like 3. I think 3 is a good number. David has got other ideas. He's on his own. He's got this thing, you get 3 and then you can freestyle. I don't even know what that means.
What is freestyle?
I have no idea.
You get pregnant every year after that.
I don't know what freestyle he's freestyling, because this is not a rap. But how many more kids would you like? Why are you scared? What is your problem?
I'm not scared.
What is it?
I'd love to have one more child. And then me, deep down in my heart, I'd love to have one more child. But
deep down in our hearts,
deep down in everyone else's heart, including my boyfriend,
we gotta have at least 2.
Everyone, it's like, 2 more. Like, you know.
I mean, we're all here.
Yeah, but
I mean, we're not gonna carry the baby for you, but carry bead from your head.
Yeah, I think we'll start with 1 and we'll see how it goes. And I'm not in a hurry to have kids anytime soon. Because of how young I had Coco, I'd want to be in the right place, the right frame of mind, the right place emotionally, married, all of that kind of stuff. I want all of that in place before I have another child. So I don't want to do it how I did it before, because then that doesn't make sense.
We're getting there.
So I did mention in this video that I co-parent with my son's dad. Coco stays with me throughout the weekdays, so that has been happening for many years now. But of course, as it is when you're not in a relationship with somebody and you have to co-parent, it's difficult. I think the first thing I would say is make sure whatever rules you have in where your child spends the most time, whenever they go anywhere else, those same rules are applied, because you don't want to confuse the child and you don't want them to think that they can pull the wool over anyone's eyes. They have set schedules in one place, make sure those schedules are the same in the other place. So things like how much time they spend on their phone, how much time they spend playing games on the iPad or watching TV or anything like that, make sure it's the same. Secondly, I think as his mum, Coco spends more time with me, so I get things like letters from school, I get the calls from school, I get any kind of school bills or anything like that. So I think make sure that's also communicated with the other side. Communicate it, and however they choose to take that information is left to them. The responsibilities should be equal. The only reason they're not equal is because we don't live in the same house and we're not in a relationship. But in terms of being Coco's parents, they should be somewhat equal. So yeah, even things like school plays and things like that, always let the other party know. Make sure the school has all their information and they can let them know if you really can't speak to the other person. This might not be necessarily about co-parenting, but I think don't expect anybody else to do anything for your child. It does sound a bit negative. Don't expect,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, don't expect anyone else to pick up the pieces, because when you start expecting that from either your child's father or the other party, that's when you might work yourself up and get really angry because they're not doing what you say they are supposed to be doing,
what you think they would
or what you
just
think
do.
they would just do normally as their parent as well. So do what you have to do, and always do what you have to do. And as well, don't let your child see that there is any kind of animosity between their parents. Not to say that children will play against it, but they could. But at the same time, you don't want it to ever, you don't want them to use that as something that they can make you guys get even more, have even more beef.
Oh, get out of here, don't ask me that.
Why not?
So silly, that's so irrelevant.
Why is that irrelevant? Are you not an influencer?
Don't even try it. All of it.
Such a lie.
No, literally. Obviously, like, just every day is fun. I don't have a particular moment. I just think watching him grow, like, as cheesy as it sounds. Again, as I mentioned earlier, just like, I just had this thing of, oh my God, it's going to be so hard. Like, my mum's not here. It's just going to be terrible. It's been really, really good. And I think it's just down to, obviously, us as individuals. We're just like happy people.
You want to create that environment for your
child.
Yeah. I think it's a mixture of things. It's like all the different birthdays. And then just see him being his own person. Like it's like you said, you give birth to them and they're like tiny babies, and then suddenly they're like 10 years old. And then just things that he says, things that he does, like jokes he makes. I'm just like, how did you get there?
Are you really?
You're not an adult. Like, you're not Eden's age, but you're not an adult. You're like in between.
Coco is amazing, and Eden loves him. Gosh.
Yeah, I know. Kids like love Coco. Thank you so much, guys, for asking us the questions as well.
It was fun.
Thanks, Abigail, for joining us.
Maybe we'll do this more often. Don't try and pull off my wig just because I can't pull off your braids.
But no, don't forget to please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already, and check out Abigail's Instagram. I'm gonna link it down below, and of course it's gonna be in the video as well, so you don't miss it. Follow me as well on Instagram and on all the social media platforms and blah blah blah, and I hope to see you guys on another video. But thank you again, guys, and yeah, drop some suggestions down below if you have enjoyed watching this. Okay, bye.
Toodles.